Okay, hello and welcome back. This is part two of the niche demo video. Now, just to recap, up to this point, we've got rid of probably three or four niches. Looked at firefighters. Yeah, it was a good niche, but it was, Teespring competition. And we decided in the end to look at two sub niches: firefighter mom and military firefighters. Stamp collectors was a maybe, not a huge audience. Few results coming up, not a lot of competition on Teespring, which is good. Bird watchers really like that niche. Definite good audience there. Not that many Teespring results, and several T-shirts on Zazzle, eBay, and Amazon. So definitely a good niche. Warcraft was a possible. Couldn't really find. There was lots and lots of big interest, but we couldn't easily see a way to sub niche it down to something smaller. Did see some results on Teespring, which isn't a good sign. But we also saw a T-shirt that we could certainly look at doing something similar to with a good sales rank on Amazon. Lizards, looked at leopard geckos in the end. That's what we stumbled onto. That was kind of the sub niche we spiraled off into. One result on Teespring, not much action on any site apart from Zazzle, where we did see a lot of T-shirts, but they were all children, which is kind of a concerning. So maybe it's something that a lot of lizard owners are young kids. Also, only a 76,000 audience, and not really any kind of other interests that were related that we could look at. Journalist seemed good, good results on Facebook, lots of different things we could target. But the problem was there was too many Teespring results, too much competition. We could see good targeting, especially with professions, which is always a good sign. There was like 40,000 worth of job titles for the journalist profession, and lots of Zazzle t-shirts, but again, lots and lots of Teespring competition. So it's a no. And by the way, that doesn't mean that we won't come back to that niche. It doesn't mean that we won't find a sort of sub niche like newspaper journalists or freelance journalists. But I just don't like to see too much Teespring competition. Pilots is the next one. So interest, put in pilot. So maritime pilot, don't know what that is. Pilots at seas. 8 million people. Again, you know, presumably that's like a seafaring pilot of some kind. But 8 million people is just too big. I don't know that there's going to be 8 million people who fly planes at sea. Uh, Let me try putting in pilot license. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean lots and lots of results. Commercial pilot license, glider pilot license, private pilot, pilot in the UK, pilot in Canada, pilot certification. Um, Let me put pilot school. Yeah, pilot high. Well, actually, that's like a high school, but maybe these are pilot schools. Flight school, actually. Yeah, okay, that's like basketball, but you know, there do seem to be enough results here. For job titles, it is a job, so let's put pilot in here. 24,000 people, that's a pretty good number. So, it certainly ticks the Facebook box. So let me just write that down. Um, definite, Definitely good Facebook results. 24,000 for job title and many related interests like pilot license, pilot school, and many more. Now, again, I wouldn't even normally do as much notes as this. I'm just doing it kind of for your benefit as well. I'd normally just put yes and maybe do some short notes. Um, but it does seem like this is a good one just off the targeting anyway. Again, let's go over to Teespring and just do a quick search. Actually, I'd search TView if it was open, but okay, so this isn't necessarily a good sign. Quite a lot of competition from the looks of it on Teespring. We do have sales: 60 sales, 46 sales, 45, 69, 20. There's lots of these selling, which is good, but there just seems to be a lot of competition here, which I don't really like. Let me just do a quick search on Zazzle pilot t-shirt. Yeah, feels safe at night, sleep with the pilot. helicopter pilot, maybe that was a sub niche. Let me even just try that. Interest helicopter pilot. Okay, 6,000 people, not that many actually. Only 2,000 in the States. So that's not a big enough sub niche. Let me just have a quick look here. What's this multi-rotor pilot? Okay, I think that's like drone pilots or something, but let me even put that in. Multi-rotor. That could potentially work. And if I put, let me just put that into Teespring. There seems to be only this one guy selling there with, oh no, there's a few of them. There's 3 of them, but you know, 20 sold, 2 sold. So, but lots and lots of Teespring competition. Also drone sales. Also, sorry, multi-rotor seems like an okay niche, maybe. Let me just drop this. So I've kind of, with the pilot thing, I'm kind of like a bit put off by all the huge competition. It's still kind of a maybe. I still might include it, so I'll still have a quick look at some of these other sites. Yeah, so you can see we've got quite a few, you know, trust me, I'm a pilot. See if any of these have sold. So yeah, this is like, you know, 5 sold. That's a good sign. It does look like it's a good niche. It's just kind of a niche that a lot of people know about, which concerns me. Multi-rotor, I think, was what I've not spelt it right there. Multi-rotor. Maybe it's 2 words. There's nothing coming up on eBay. Let me just try on Google. Google's kind of a good one. If you can't find it on a specific site, Google will often just give you all the sites in one go. So yeah, there do appear to be some multi-rotor t-shirts, and it is drones as well. So maybe that's another keyword that we could put in here. Yeah, Parrot AR drone. 100. Yeah. So I mean, this kind of, this seems to be a pretty good one. So drones. Few results on Teespring, 100k plus audience on FB, and some results on Google Images. So that could be a good one. So like I say, pilot's a bit too competitive, but you know, we'll have a look at it. So interests, so we've done pilots and it was too competitive, but now we're moving on to science teacher. So again, the first thing you'll notice there is I put science teacher in, and you know, National Science Teachers Association, perfect. Teacher science, teaching science, 8th grade science teacher. So you know, there's a fair few of these. Let me just add that one as well. That's probably a really good one actually. So National Science Teachers Association, 420,000 people. Job title, science teacher. Again, it's a job, so I can put it in job title. 19,000 people, so let me just write this down. So yes to FB targeting. Again, we're not doing a lot of searches, we're just kind of quickly doing some searches and seeing what comes up, and if anything good comes up, it's sufficient for us to move on. Yes to good Facebook targeting. Science teacher profession has 19k. Which again, that it's not necessarily that I'll only target with that, but it's just a good sign because not many people put job title science teacher. So if 19,000 people do, there's probably more like 100,000 people who actually are science teachers. And National Association of Science Teachers was like 400k or something. So you know, we could probably refine that as well, by the way. We could probably just let me get rid of that there and put in National Science Teacher. So National Science Teacher. We can probably guess that, say, most science teachers are like, I don't know, age 30 plus or something. So we can put that in there. And that'll also get rid of any like students or anything. And it'll just refine it a little bit more. Maybe as well, a lot of science teachers are settled down kind of thing of like are married and stuff. So I'm not necessarily saying that we would do this targeting. I don't like to just throw in like random things, that just on a whim. But you can see that we could find different ways to pull that audience down to a smaller number. So anyway, it is a go on Facebook ads. Let me just go over to Teespring and search Science Teacher. Okie dokie. So you can see that we do have several competitors already. They are selling. So okay, 254 sales, 10 sales, 3 sales, 27 sales. 26 sales, 23, 32. So with this one, I'm kind of like, um, so bad news, lots of Teespring competitors. Good news, most of them are selling. And probably they're using similar targeting to what we're doing, because if you put in, like, let me just put in all science teacher, and if you put in enough words, it'll get to a point where it kind of runs out of, and you see there's not, these are all quite small, 5,000, 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. So really these seem to be the main two terms. So probably a lot of people are using, these people are running the designs, but with these terms here. With these interests. So if they're getting sales, then even though it's quite competitive, we could probably do something similar. So yes, it's competitive. Yes, there's a lot of t-shirts, but everyone seems to be getting sales. So I'll at least give it another couple of minutes and just allow it. So Science Teacher t-shirt. 1,000 results, as you can see. 8 people watching, 10 people watching, 6 people watching. 3 watching, 10 watching. So there's a lot of activity here, which is good. Sort of a sub niche, I guess, there. Lots of variations. So yeah, I kind of, with this one, I'm kind of tempted to allow it at this stage, even though there's competition on Teespring, just because there seems to be a lot of activity going on. Let me pause now for a moment of silence. Stand back. I'm going to try silence. Let me just click on this one. Maybe that's the angle we could come from as well. So yeah, 900,000 sales rank for that. Not particularly great. Plus, you can't use stuff like that. That's like a trademark infringement, pretty much, I think, for Superman. But I do wonder if we could put here women, if that drops it down. Well, yeah, maybe that's our angle. So let me just quickly look at these and see how many of these are female. There doesn't seem to be any that I can see. Okay, here we go. All women are created equal. So that's a female one. So let me just put that down. So possibly could do female science teachers. As lots of results for females. As some results for females on eBay, Amazon, but not many on Teespring. So maybe that's our angle. So yes for this niche, but need an angle perhaps. Also, like I say, those two interests, only these two interests seemed to be relevant. So presumably everyone's advertising on those two interests there, or possibly job title science teacher, which that will include that anyway. So we need to kind of really put a spin on it, or at least come up with a clever design. Just do one quick search as well on Google, science teacher t-shirts. There's just tons and tons. So I mean, this one here kind of suggests to me like female, female, female. That's pink, so I'm guessing that's female, female. Think that might be a female. So it looks like maybe that's our angle. for us to run with there, like female mom kind of thing. Okay, so that one's a yes. Tattoo lovers. So interests, tattoo, tattoo artist. You know, again, 15 million people like tattoo artists. That does not mean that there's 15 million tattoo artists. In fact, there's probably only a few thousand. So, job title, tattoo artist. Let's see what number that gives us. Yeah, less than 1,000 people. So let me just bump that age back up actually to 18 and male, and it might make it more. But yeah, I mean, it's a small number, so there's not enough tattoo artists for it to be worth our while. Nowhere near. Tattoos, you know, some big numbers here, but I'm not entirely convinced that these are going to be sort of targeted enough for us. So let me just, again, when I kind of hit a niche and I don't know how to sub niche it, what I'll tend to do is to put the keyword and then tattoo t-shirts or whatever it is into Google, and see what comes up and see if that suggests any sub niches. And again, the ones that are dead complicated, design heavy, we can't really use those. We want like text-based, mostly slogan-based, simple, kind of funny ones. Those are the ones that we can run with. Tattoo studio, that's the kind of style that we want, like a simple image and some text, but obviously that relates to a specific studio, which is this MD Tattoo Studio. So obviously we can't use that because it's, you know, it's their copyright or whatever. Let me try, because these are all sort of image based. Let me try tattoo funny t-shirt, see if that brings anything up. Okay, sorry, I only like boys with tattoos. Okay, so maybe that could be an angle. So we put in like tattoo. Keep misspelling it. Let's just try a broad one. I don't know, that's probably too broad. Let's try tattoos.com. And when you know, Google, Facebook won't put the dot in. So tattoos.com is tattoos.com. It's a website. So whenever you see com like that, that's the website. So 860,000 people, which is too big. Or probably, you know, we'd probably do more research here, but sorry, I only like boys with tattoos. Well, what we can do here to do that is we could have, for example, women, and then again with more demographics, relationship status, we can go with single. So that brings it down to 160,000 people. And in any event, we would, you know, further drill down into this, but so, and actually, before I just write anything, let me just do a search on spelling this right. So only one, I think I'm, okay, misspelling. Yeah, so quite a few competitors here. Lots of fancy designs actually. That's quite interesting, that the ones that seem to be selling are the ones that are more graphical, which I guess makes sense because you know, it's quite a graphical thing, but it just makes it harder for us to compete. Female tattoo there. Tattoos, women take it better. Only 6 sold though. 3 sold for all these. Lots and lots of competition. Yeah, so again, I kind of don't like to see loads of people throwing out designs and not many of them sticking. With the teacher one, we saw lots of designs, but they're all getting sales. We're not really seeing that here. You can see that there seem to be other people who are targeting women. I booze shoes and boys with tattoos. I love booze shoes, boys with tattoos. You know, so there are people who are aware of the female angle. Boys don't last, tattoos do. So this idea that I had here about targeting single women who like tattoos, to do a t-shirt like that, it seems that there are other people doing it, and that's a major negative. So lots of interests, so lots of FB interests, but lots of Teespring competition, and can't really see any obvious way, any obvious angle. Plus, most of the designs selling are fancy, graphical, tattoo style ones that might be hard for us to design. So I'm not convinced it's worth our while. Lots of TPing competition, and no one is really selling. So that's another concern. So for that reason, I'm probably going to not do tattoos. Next one, dentists. Okay, so get rid of all this. So let's just put in interest, dentist, dentistry. That's probably a better one. 7 million people, but again, that is too big a number. That doesn't mean that there are 7 million dentists. That just means there are 7 million people who Facebook has decided like dentist stuff. So to get a more reasonable number, let's put in dentist here under job title. There's only 6,800 people, which is not a tiny number, but not a massive number either. Let me just dental degree. Okay, that's probably better. So yeah, that's 1.2 million people. Still probably a bit too big, but dental school maybe. Experimental dental school. Okay, that could be a good one. And with ones like this, you could probably put in lots of different dental schools. So we could do a search and find like, Wisconsin dental school, Illinois dental school, and just start putting in lists of dental schools. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but we can see that we're able to target people there. There's enough interest and there's probably enough numbers. So let me put dental in. Okay, that's interesting. Dental assistant. So it's not dentist, it's dental assistant. Dental hygienist, dental assistant. Again, so you can see that seems to be selling. Lots of dental assistants actually. Dental assistant, dental hygienist. They're all selling though. So yeah, so not dentist, dental assistant, or dental hygienist. But again, with this one, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily include it, but the fact that there's competition, but the competition is all, they're all selling basically. And the thing about this as well is, I put dental in almost by accident. If I'd put dentist in, um, come on, Teespring. Yeah, if I put dentist in, then it might not, you know, have loaded that. So all I would have seen is dentist, which is, some of them are getting sales, but they're not getting anywhere near the same sales. So let me go back and put in dental as a job title, dental assistant. How many does that have? Oh, 66,000, big number. And dental hygienist, 26,000, another pretty good number. So you can see there that um, we basically, dentist, not many, 6k profession, but dental hygienist and was it assistant have many under job title, and lots of Teespring competition, not good sign, but lots of sales for pretty much all of them. So the niches are dental hygienist and dental assistant. So, in that case, we said no to our original niche, which was dentist, and we said yes to dental hygienist and dental assistant. So those are two good niches. Four left, or five left rather. So surfers, I'm going to try and cut through these quite quickly. So surfing, obviously a really big number. 11 million people. That doesn't mean that by any means there's 11 million people who surf. When it's like a single word like this, a broad keyword, especially when there's a category that Facebook, has got so many people that it's put it in its own category, it's generally not that targeted. So what we want to do is try and find a more targeted angle in. So let me put surfboards. Nothing really there. Let me try it one word. Yeah, that's better. Surfboard wax. Presumably, if people, I mean, that's a pretty sort of technical thing, I would think. You know, like I might say, oh, I saw that surfboard film last night. It was really fun. That doesn't mean I'm ever going to surf, or that you can sell me a surfing T-shirt. But Facebook might put me in the surfing box just because I said that. But if someone uses surfboard wax, I mean that's kind of like a surfer kind of nerd thing. So that's a good one. So lots of interests. Stumbled onto surfboard wax as good interest. And by the way, this probably isn't what we're going to advertise to. There's 64,000 people. You know, almost certainly that's not what we're going to advertise to when we come to the targeting stage. But again, at this stage, we just want to quickly scan the niche. So let me put surf in. So yeah, quite a lot of t-shirts appearing here, which generally isn't good. You know, not huge sales. Few with some sales here, 52, 84. But that one looks like it might be like Surf for Life. That's probably like a brand or you know, a donation thing or something. So I don't know how helpful that is. Girls Surf 2, one sold, one sold. So yeah, lots of competition here and not that many sales, not many double digit or triple digit sales. So without moving forward and given that we've already got a lot of good niches, I'm going to say, but no, too much Teespring competition and not many of them with sales. Okay. Kayaking. So kayaking is the next one. So these are people who kayak. So kayaking, 6.7 million people. Again, it's probably, that doesn't mean 7 million people kayak every week. That's just Facebook, you know, being a bit silly. Sea kayak, kayak fishing, kayak session. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what some of these means. They're probably worth a Google search, but just slightly concerned. Let me just put kayak fishing magazine. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe kayak fishing is a good niche then. You know, I didn't think that was something people really did, but it's not so much that 2 million people have an interest in kayak fishing. It's more the fact that you've got Kayak Fishing Magazine has got 24,000 people. Now that obviously is very targeted. I can't imagine people, you know, liking that or talking about a kayak fishing magazine unless they really do like kayak fishing. So kayak, let's put that in. 38 sales, 10 sales, 3 sales. Okay, here we go. Kayak base fishing, 3 sales. Not that many sales here. You know, quite a bit of competition, not that many sales. Kayak fishing there, that has got a couple of sales, nothing special. Let me just put kayak fish. Don't think that's really about kayaking. Kayak angler, 4 sales. You know, again, nothing particularly special. Let me just go over to Google again just to kind of get an overview of the niche. Kayak fishing t-shirts. So yeah, not that many good t-shirts here. There are some, you know, presumably that's one. Maybe that's a brand of some kind. Kayak fishing. Kayak fishing. You know, there's not a ton of results here actually. Let me just do a search on eBay. Kayak fishing. Okay. So yeah, not again, not a huge amount of results here. Just have a quick scan of this one since it's the first one that comes up. No sales, as far as I can tell. It's not a lot anyway, so you couldn't see if it had, but nothing particularly special. Just before I ditch this, I'm just going to do one last search on Amazon. Okay, so there are some results on Amazon, but it literally says kayak fishing, so you know we'd have to come up with our own slogan. I'll just quickly click on the first result. 700,000 sales rank, nothing special, you know. So probably with that one, no. Did find sub niche kayak fishing, but didn't really have t-shirts. So this is kind of like the one where we kind of getting here into the territory of like not that many t-shirts, very few t-shirts on Teespring, like, you know, maybe one or two. Um, you know, not a lot of t-shirts anywhere really, but presumably people are spending on this. I would guess people spend money on kayaks, on, you know, angling rods and things like that. So there is money being spent. So it's a niche probably where people are spending money, but, you know, not necessarily buying t-shirts. So it's kind of an experimental one. So experimental maybe, but not right now. Had some Facebook interests, but not that many. So if you remember, we actually put in like, part of the problem we had at the start was we put in like kayak, and we just got like these huge terms like, you know, 9 million, 6 million, 4 million. But I guess because I didn't spend a lot of time in the market and trying to dig around, we just kind of, you know, we tried to put in like kayak, you know, and the first thing that came up really was kayak fishing, and then kayak fishing magazine, which would be a good term. Whenever you see a magazine with kind of like 5-figure results, it's generally a good sign for the niche. So that was kind of the thread that we ran with. That was the sub niche we were looking at. It didn't really go anywhere when we've got enough niches, so I've just killed it off. Next one is deep sea diving. Okay, so deep sea diving, 19,000, 17,000, not a lot of people there, not a very big audience. Let's try diving. Okay, scuba diving international. So, you know, let's dive into that one. Scuba diving live, scuba diving magazine. That's definitely a good one. Straight away, that brings us up to 36,000. So that's a good sign. Let me do a search on Teespring for scuba. Oh, I see competition. One there that sold 51, 19, 17, 16. They are selling, but, you know, not massive numbers, I think. So seems like a relatively small audience, and it is good though when you see blue. You know, people are selling. I mean, of the first, what, like 12 t-shirts that come up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them have got this blue bar, which means that they're getting a lot of sales. So that is good. So I am going to write that down. So nope, too small, but then found scuba diving, which had good interests. However, Teespring competition, and but they are making sales mostly, but only smaller sales, 5 to 20. So it's good that, you know, people are buying t-shirts. Most of the t-shirts that are being launched are getting sales, but they're not getting huge numbers. Let me just quickly go over and see if I can find like an angle here. You know, if there's like scuba diving but with a spin on it. Wrecked. I don't know if that's people that dive shipwrecks. That's not really an angle, is it? Live to dive. Keep calm and dive on. Okay, here we go. I love it when my wife lets me go scuba diving. So here, for example, we could target, you know, relationship status, married, men. So these are, you know, and then there's only 10,000, but we would add more interest here. So scuba, diving society, scuba. No, we could even add that one, but it's probably too broad. But you get the idea. So we could probably, you know, play around with this and do something with it. Let me just do a quick search on eBay and on Amazon. So scuba diving t-shirt, scuba diving t-shirt. So eat, sleep, scuba. Just quickly look at the sales rank, 360,000, so not abysmal but not great. Let me just have a quick look at some of these others and look at their sales rank. Again, same 360,000. Let me just go back to the main search page. And again, I'm looking for stuff that we could do. We can't do that. It's too complicated. A big design. We're not going to be able to do that. Something more like that we could potentially do, although I suspect it's a logo of a company, so we couldn't use it. We could definitely do that. Now, this might even be the one that we've just looked at, actually. Yeah, 360,000. So nothing really jumping out at me there on Amazon. Let's look at eBay. Oh, I think I've actually already looked at this one. Dive naked, everything looks bigger underwater. That's the kind of stuff that we'd want to do. That's pretty funny, actually. Just scanning through here. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Evolution of a scuba diver, 22 sold. So this is what? Oh, 58 sold actually. So that's excellent. So also found evolution of scuba diver tee that sold 58 on eBay. And I'd probably grab this URL actually and just paste this in. For the really good ones, I'll actually write down the URL like that. So yeah, so I think this is probably one we'd include, scuba diving, not the deep sea diving one. And that then moves us on to the next one, which is travel agents. So again, just put the keyword into interests, travel agents, association, Americans, I'm looking for ones with big numbers. Travel agent magazine, 50,000 people in the States. Not a bad number, probably enough for us to start with. Again, it's a profession, so we can also put the same phrase in here. Job title, travel agent, only 7,000 people. Yeah, it's kind of like, not a huge number. Travel agent. Um, 117 sold. Okay, that's interesting. 100 sold, 49 sold. 1461. Yeah, there's 37. This is there is competition, but as you can see, there's only 2 pages and a lot of sales. So kind of encouraging, but only a sort of smallish niche. So let me just go back and we do have a lot of niches already. So I'm hopefully you're starting to see what I was saying before about doing batches of them, because when you do batches, you become like your standards get really high. And what will probably happen after this video is I'll go back and look at all the ones I've done, and I'll be like, you know what, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, I don't like that one, and I'll bring it down to like 6 niches or something, just because I've got so many. So this is why it's always a good thing to approach it, to do batches and to approach it from this point of view. So travel agent t-shirts. Okay, save a horse ride. Okay, I'm not entirely sure about that one. Best travel agent ever. Keep calm, a travel agent. So yeah, loads and loads of these selling. So I mean, this is good actually, because you remember what I like is when there's, there is some results on Teespring, but there's actually even more results on other sites. And that's what we see in here. You can see there's lots and lots and lots of results on eBay, for example. I'll look at what's it called in a second. Let me just looking for one I can just click on and just quickly look at. There's probably not going to be any sales for these. Well, no, they're not batch lots. And by the way, when I say batch lots, I mean that like it's possible to have like 10 t-shirts open at once, and we can actually do that as an advanced search, which is just up here, which I'm not going to do now, but we could do an advanced search and basically look at ones that are sold in lots, and then if there's like, it'll say like 10 available, 32 sold, and that just shows us ones that have sold. Custom travel agent tee. I don't think there actually is any sales rank for this, or maybe it's not sold any. When I grow up, I want to be a travel agent. lots targeted at kids. Just do a quick search on Google, travel agent t-shirts. Yeah, so there is quite a lot of results here. So my conclusion for this one is seems to be reasonable FB targeting. Like, was it 50k for magazine? And in fact, actually, you know what? I think there's only 6k for travel agent profession. So let me even just go and see if I can find, if I can expand that anymore, because if not, then it might actually be an issue before we even move forward. So, tour travel agent, American Society of Travel Agents, travel agent magazine, 72,000 people, travel agents, British, obviously that's not going to come up really for America. Travel agents, Izzy B Disney, I don't know what that is. New Zealand. So yeah, I mean the number's relatively low anyway. It's on the lower side. It's only 72,000. So 50k for magazine and like 25k for association and 6k for so reasonable but small. That said, several Teespring sellers, not too many of them, like one or two pages, and a lot of them are selling Big Blue Bar, Big Blue Bar, Big Blue, Big Blue. You know, it's like half of them have got either lots of sales or one or two sales. Several Teespring sellers, so competition, which is not good, but sales for most of them, which is good. And lots of ideas, especially on eBay. So a maybe. So I'm going to put maybe for that one. And then the final one is drag races, which I know nothing about. So drag racing, 13 million, too many. Drag racing action magazine sounds great, but only 6,000 people. Drag racing, motorcycle drag racing, maybe that's like a sub niche we could look at. Presumably that's like an association like the NBA or the ML, the NFL or something, that NHRA drag racing, so maybe that's a good one. IHRA, that's probably another association, so we've got motorcycle drag racing and a few associations there that we could probably include. Straight away that bumps it up to 76,000 people, so I'd say that we've roughly got our targeting there, again without going into too much detail. Go straight over to Teespring, search drag race, nothing comes up. Search drag, results do come up. 50 sales, 29, 18, 18. So there is competition, but some sales here. Yeah, quite a few sales actually. So there's quite a lot of competition, but there's also some sales. Let me go over to eBay and put in drag racing t-shirt. Yeah, so quite a few t-shirts, but not many that are like slogans that we can easily, it's like that's one that we could copy. Aside from the swear words, you can't have swear words on Facebook, but aside from that, we could, that basic layout of text we could have, maybe replace the swear word with something else, screw it or something that's less offensive. Yeah, so there's not a ton of great results there actually. Let me just go over to this one, Google Images. So again, it's lots of t-shirts, lots of designs, but not much we can use because again, we can't use fancy stuff. We can do stuff like this with simple text. Yeah, we can do stuff like that. So these are kind of all the good ones that we could do. You know, so those are quite good. But then just not a huge amount of t-shirt designs that jump out at me. Let me just quickly look at Zazzle, because we've not looked at this for a while. drag racing t-shirt. Yeah, so quite a few here that we could look at, and we could, oops, I need to click that, we could sort of reuse maybe and tweak and spin and whatnot. So, um, so yeah, so, you know, we've just seen that design on another site. So, so yeah, with this one, drag racing seems to be good targeting associations, magazines, etc., that we could no doubt expand on later stages. So FB is fine. E.g., I think there was even just that one that we put in there, the IHRA was like 76k. Let me just copy that. E.g. was 76k, so that's fine. However, quite a few Teespring competitors, and although some had sales, some had good sales actually, but not many results on eBay, Amazon, results on Google Images were mostly graphical, fancy, complicated. However, Zazzle did have quite a few good results, so maybe. So just to run through, you know, it has taken me about an hour and a half, and to go through probably about 20-ish niches. You know, if I wasn't going through it in the same level of detail here, I probably would have done it, I would guess, in maybe about probably about half an hour or 45 minutes, something like that. So, you know, we are talking just a few minutes per niche, just like I said in the original, you know, earlier on in the original videos. So we are talking like 5 minutes a niche. I'm guessing the first time that you guys go through it, it is probably going to take you 10-20 minutes per niche. Very quickly though, you know, you'll get much faster at it. So again, you know, the first thing we do is we put our keyword, our main keyword, into Facebook ads, play around with it, try and get a number that's, you know, are we convinced we can get 100,000 people? Yes, you know, there's several different ones I could have put in there that would have bumped it up. You know, we could have kept on putting some of these in and bumped it up. So yeah, that one was fine. Then we quickly look at Teespring, put one or two of the words in to bring as many matches as possible. Is there a lot of competition on Teespring? If so, that's not a good sign. The only thing that can save that really is if a lot of people are getting sales. So sale, you know, sale. So yeah, it's like, yes, there's competition, but everyone's making money pretty much, so we'll kind of allow that one. And then the next thing is, well, great, but we don't just want to be using designs from Teespring, we want to be looking at other sites. So look on eBay, you know, is there stuff there? Not really a ton of stuff. Look on Amazon, we actually never did this. Yeah, there's quite a few results actually on Amazon. Look on Zazzle, and there's quite a few on Zazzle as well. And then also go over to Google. The other thing that we can do, which I've not done during this video, is we can also put in memes. And you might remember I referenced memes before as like they like these viral images that have like a cliched picture of, like, you know, Willy Wonka or this guy from Game of Thrones or whatever, and then like the text over it, kind of funny text. So we can often turn these into t-shirts. So, you know, if we put our keyword and then memes in and we get a lot of results like this, it's generally a good sign, because we can often turn these into t-shirts. Our keyword plus stickers, same thing, these can often be turned into t-shirts. Our keyword plus quote, again, often turned into t-shirts. And keyword plus funny can often be turned into t-shirts. So, you know, we don't necessarily have to rely on these t-shirt sites. We can also search Pinterest, like I was doing at the start of the video. Although very often with Pinterest you'll get some images, but also some text ones. That could be good. Drag racing, if I have to explain it, you won't understand. Work suits, I'm going drag racing. Those are two great ones. Obviously, that's a t-shirt, so that's perfect. That's a perfect one. You know, we're after text-based stuff like this with maybe the odd image in it. So, you know, that's kind of the broad system. We start by looking at Facebook ads. Can we get to 100,000 to a million people? Do the searches on Facebook lead us into different sub niches, related niches? Spend a few minutes playing around with it, settle on a niche, go into you know, Teespring with a rough idea, put our keyword in, look to see if there's competition. If there is, it's not a good sign, but if there is, at the very least, we want people to be selling like they are doing here. Then we move on to other sites: eBay, Amazon, Pinterest, Zazzle, Wenelo, Etsy, all the other sites I didn't cover here. Look for t-shirts that we could potentially spin and change and use for ourselves. Also go over to Google and search, you know, the keyword plus t-shirt. Also, if you've got the time, search the keyword plus funny, meme, quote, all those kinds of words. And you can see that really, I've not even had to get to that final stage in a lot of these cases. I'm sorry, I keep maximizing it. But here, you know, with just spending a little bit of time, I've now ended up with, of the like maybe 20 niches or so that I started with, I spun firefighters into two different niches. Stamp collectors was a maybe, bird watchers was a yes, Warcraft was a maybe, lizard owners became leopard geckos, which was a no, journalist was a maybe, but there was a lot of competition on Teespring, pilots was probably too much competition, but we spun it into multi-rotor drone owners slash pilots. Science teachers was lots of competition, but we did think we could use the female one as an angle. Tattoo lovers was, you know, lots and lots of fancy designs plus a lot of competition, and no one was really selling. Dentist was only a relatively small Facebook imprint, but then we went over to Teespring and put dental in, and it brought up dental hygienist and assistant, which was lots of Teespring competition, but a lot of sales. People selling hundreds and hundreds of units there. We tried surfers, found, you know, kind of a good interest there with surfboard wax, but there was too much competition and not enough sales. Kayaking, we couldn't really get good interest on Facebook. We could get big ones, but we couldn't find the smaller ones. Kind of like with the Warcraft one, we stumbled onto kayak niching as a possible sub niche, but it didn't really have too many good t-shirts, so we were kind of like, nah, you know, we'll allow that, we'll leave that for now. Deep sea diving, immediately we saw that was too small, but we stumbled onto scuba diving, which did have some good interests. There was a bit of Teespring competitions, but again, they were all making sales, so we kind of went along with that one. But it was only smaller sales, but we did find one on eBay that had sold 58, which is kind of a good sign. So this one was a maybe. Travel agents seemed to be okay, but not incredible Facebook targeting. It was like 50k for Travel Agent Magazine, 25 for Travel Agent Association, 6k for Travel Agent as the job title on Facebook. We did see, saw several Teespring sellers, so there was competition, but which isn't great, but there were sales for most of them, which is good. And there were lots and lots of ideas, especially on eBay, so that's a maybe. Drag racers, fine, our last one, it seemed to be pretty good targeting. You know, we could easily expand that. Again, we're not looking to go really detailed with the targeting. So the Facebook side of things was fine. However, there was quite a few Teespring competitors, which isn't great, but a lot of them had sales, which is kind of, yeah, that's fine. And then we didn't see a lot of good results on eBay, Amazon, and the problem that was that the results that we saw on Google Images were mostly graphical, fancy, complicated, which means that we can't copy them. Can't easily be copied without lots of expensive designs, which we don't want to do because we want to test fast. So that's generally not a good sign. Kind of like the tattoo one, lots of pretty designs, but that isn't how we want to sell t-shirts. We want simple text-based t-shirts with maybe the odd image. Zazzle did have some good results though. So I've put this in the maybe box. So overall, we've got one maybe, two maybes, three maybes. I'll ignore the maybes now and just show you how many niches we actually have that I'm really happy with. Dental hygienist and dental assistant, that's two niches we have. Tattoo lover was a no. Science teacher, we said we'll do female science teacher, so that's three niches. Pilot was a no, or a probable no, but multi-rotor seems like one, so that's four niches. Journalist, too much competition, no. Lizard owners, pet owners, no. Warcraft was a maybe. Bird watchers was a yes, that's five. Stamp collectors was a maybe. And then we had two variations to the firefighter niche, which is 6 and 7. So in total there we got 7 potential niches that we can move on to and add to our list. So you can see hopefully the basic process. You start off with like anywhere between 5 and 20 niches, do loads of searches in lots of different tabs, bounce between the tabs, check Facebook, check Teespring, check eBay, Amazon, Pinterest, Winelo, Zazzle, all these sites, check Google Images, and look to see if there are Facebook interests you can target. Look to see if there are t-shirts that are selling. Make sure there's not too much Teespring competition, especially if no one's selling any units. And then use that process to filter it down. Be more than happy to break off into sub niches if you think that that's the best way to approach it. Be more than happy to experiment and put one word in but then be led into another, and also be more than happy to find a niche which seems really good. Maybe it's got good targeting, but when you look there's just too much Teespring competition, and no one's selling as well. So hopefully, between these two videos, you've really learned a lot. I've gone into essentially what my process is, aside from when I use the software, which I'll cover in separate videos. This is kind of how to do it manually. This is how to brainstorm niches. um, Feel free to combine niches like this that do have t-shirts selling with other niches that maybe are more experimental. It's good to throw those in every so often and kind of have a bit of a mixture, but generally this pretty much outlines the process. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.